Hey yogis, welcome to Limitless Yoga Studio Online. My name is Kelsey Wright. This is Watson. And before we get to today's class, I just wanted to announce that we have opened a patron account. So if you are loving these classes and you want to support them, go ahead and click on the link in the description below, and we can keep creating really great content. So for today's class, you're going to need either a golf ball or a myofascial release the size of a golf ball and your 2 yoga blocks. Okay? We're going to be doing literally a head-to-toe flow, starting with myofascial release on the feet, hitting all the major muscle groups of the body, and then ending with myofascial release on the hands. So let's get going. Grab your ball, place it on your mat, and then we're going to put the ball of the right foot on the ball. And then, so the heel will be grounded, it'll be your pivot point. As you slowly start to maneuver the ball right and left, we're going from the big toe side to the pinky toe side. We're making sure to articulate underneath the toes so they get a little bit of movement. And we're just slowly making our way towards the arch. We're looking for interesting spots here. So as you push as much pressure as feels productive for you, if there's something that you're like, ooh, that's a little different, then you're going to pause, take a big breath, and then wait for that sensation to fade. Once it does, you can kind of keep investigating, move through there and see what else is going on. So we'll be here for a few more seconds. Take your time, move slow. We want to make sure that we're moving slow enough that the brain has time to register if there's spots. Sometimes if we just go to town real fast, we just don't have the ability to recognize and all the nuances that are there in the foot. All right, we're going to skip the arch. We're going to save him for last. We're going to go to the heel now. So the ball of the foot is on the ground. That is my pivot point now. And the ball is going to go back and forth across the heel, maybe even going up the sides of the heel a little bit if you can work that. Sometimes with a golf ball, they're a little slippery. Now, some of us, the tissue on the heel is going to be a little thicker or tougher, so you might have to push a little bit harder. But again, all that is up to you. You want to do what is productive and not painful. And as I slowly move from the arch to the very back of the heel, some of us, the very back tip of the heel might feel like a little pebble underneath the skin, a little divot, a little nugget. If you do, then definitely give him a good scrub. This is right where the plantar fascia meets the heel. It tends to be where we start to first feel the symptoms of plantar fasciitis, which are no fun at all. So make sure and take care of him. All right, now we're going to move to the arch, which sometimes can be more sensitive. So just make sure that you adjust the pressure as necessary. I'm going to swipe through the arch, starting with the ball of the foot, go through the arch, relaxing, melting, keeping the toes relaxed. And then once I get to the back of the arch, I'll pick my foot up and I'll do it again. So I'm painting stripes, making sure to hit every little bit of the footprint. And again, just stopping when I have something to hang on to. So for some of us, we might have to stop a lot because there's a lot of good stuff to hang on to. For others, there might not be as many, and that is not a big deal at all. If you have high arches like I do, I like to kind of tilt to the side to make sure to get that ball up in the arch because I can almost guarantee a spot right where the arch meets the heel. There's just that little spot that likes to give me some feedback. So we're going to pause there for a breath. You got a few more seconds here on the arch before we finish off on this side. So we're just ironing out the wrinkles that can cause grumpiness in the feet. We're also pushing hydration through the tissue, keeping it healthy and hydrated. There's a good spot right there. Give me one more big cycle of breath. And we're also bringing a lot of blood flow and awareness to the foot. All right, give the entirety of the foot just a nice gentle scrub like you're painting the entirety of the footprint. A little bit of everything all over. And then come on back to feet hip distance apart like where we started and just see if you can feel a pretty big difference between the footprints. Usually it feels flatter, more grounded, more supported, sometimes squishier, even like you're unbalanced, like you've got a flat tire on one side. But don't worry, we're going to even everything out. So go ahead and place the ball under the ball of the left foot this time. And again, just gently press down. And this side's going to be very different. So you might not have to put as much pressure to get those sensitive spots, or you might have to push a little bit more. So just take it as a brand new experience since we're on a brand new side. Make sure to get underneath the toes, moving those joints around. Motion is lotion, after all. And then as you move through the ball of the foot, just take your time, slowly moving from one side of the foot to the other. If there's anything good, hang on to it. So I've already said that the sides are going to be definitely different, and we want to take all that information on board. So if you have one side that is wildly different, there's a huge difference in there, we want to start to think about what might cause that, because if there's a major imbalance, that tends to be where we eventually find injury. So if there's something on one side that is just crazy different from the other side, you might start to think what you're doing with that foot that you're not with the other. It could be something in the shoes you wear. It could be something in the sports or hobbies that you have. If one foot is doing something that the other is not, it could be something simple like crossing your ankles or legs. It might even be hooking your feet underneath your desk chair. So just take all that on board. All right, we're going to skip the arch and head to the heel. Slowly moving through possibly that thicker tissue depending, and then just slowly right to left, maybe up the sides if possible, taking your time. And then we're still being mindful of the breath. Occasionally when you start to feel pressure and sensation, the body might think, uh-oh, what's going on? And it shortens your breath, which kind of puts you on high alert. So if we keep these nice, long, mindful cycles of breath, the body's at ease, it recognizes this pressure as therapeutic, and it's going to ease into it rather than fight it. All right, I'm going to make sure and pay attention to this very back little space where we could possibly find that little divot that I talked about earlier. So give him an extra little scrub. We just want to keep this area happy because it tends to be where most people first feel the symptoms of plantar fasciitis, that spiking pain in the heel. All right, let's move to the arch. We're going to swipe, remember, gently from the ball of the foot towards the heel. One swipe at a time, stopping if there's anything good to investigate. Just always being aware of what you're feeling. Taking your time. Be here for just a little bit longer. And like I did on the other side, if you feel it necessary to kind of tilt over a little bit, get up in that arch, I almost always have a great spot in there to hang on to. So, yep, there he is right there. This always feels so good after after swimming. I love to swim in the mornings, but your feet are in kind of a different angle than in most hobbies. So this feels really nice to get in there and get out all the wrinkles. All right, last big cycle of breath. Get what you need in the arch of the foot. All right, and just like we did on the other side, we're just going to do a gentle scrub to end the whole thing from toes to heel, just making sure that we've hit every square inch, every little bit of the footprint's getting a little love, a little attention, a little blood flow. All right, and then go ahead and one more time, come into that stance of hip distance apart and just feel out those footprints. What feels different? Do your arches feel flatter or maybe more like they're buoyant, like they've got a suction cup underneath there? So just take on board how good that feels. And then place the golf ball to the side. We are going to need him at the end of class for our hands, but we won't need him during class. Meet me at the top of the mat. We're going to go feet hip distance apart, finding all four corners of your brand new feet that you created. Blocks are at the top of the mat, ready for our standing poses. Here we go. Inhale, hands up overhead, shoulder blades down the back. Exhale, forward fold. Use the blocks if you'd like to keep the hips stacked on top of the heels. Inhale, fingertips to shins. Exhale, step it on back into your first down dog. So I'm going to start in plank to make sure my spine is long, and then I'll press back. As soon as I hit down dog, I'm going to relax the chin to the chest. I'm going to start to walk out the feet, noticing that they're at least hip distance apart. So as I push through one heel and the other, I'm just getting a nice calf stretch here, a little bit into the hamstrings. Just feels good to sway back and forth. And then once I'm feeling ready, I'm going to push equally through the heels. All right, then I want to set my shoulder blades. We want to be careful not to scrunch them up into the ears, but we also don't want to really lock them down the back. We want this neutral halfway point, so a little bit of buoyancy there in your down dog. My fingers are spread out wide, so I've got gloves, not mittens. That way I can really push through the thumb and index and protect my wrists. I've got one more big inhale. On your exhale, you're going to roll forward to plank, stacking the shoulders on top of the wrists, and then drop the knees. I'm going to untuck my toes and find a few cat-cows. Inhale to drop the ribs. Exhale to push into the palms, arch the ribs, and tuck the tailbone towards the nose. So as I continue to flow up and down, I want to make sure that I'm trying to create as much length from head to tail as possible, not just getting wrapped up in that up and down motion. So lengthen out. You want to imagine your spine like a slinky. We want lots of space between each coil. We got one more move up and down for cat-cow. And then we're going to come back to a nice neutral spine. All right, stepping the right footprint to the right pinky finger, we're going to flow forward to get the hips, and then we're going to press back to get the hamstrings. So as I come forward, I'm going to feel that kind of in the inseam of the pants, and as I come back, I'll feel that on the back line of the legs. So just finding your range of motion. We got one more here, and then we're going to add on the shoulders. So next time I'm forward, I'm going to pause. That right hand is going to take a giant windmill motion towards the back of my mat. I'm going to keep the shoulder blade down as I take two more rounds. So kind of like I'm doing the backstroke here, big swim towards the back of the mat. And I can just stay here and continue to work the shoulder, or I might want to add both of those motions together. So as I do the backstroke, I'm going to lengthen out my right leg. And as I come forward, I'm going to take a nice deep lunge into the hips, reaching back to straighten out the leg, reaching forward to drop the hips. One more like this, back and forth. And then I'm going to pause in my low lunge. My right foot's going to sweep back to the very back of the mat. My right hand comes up on the inhale. Exhale, take it to the small of the back, and then use that to roll the rib cage up towards the ceiling, getting a pec stretch on the right side. One more big breath here. And then on my exhale, as my hand comes down, I'm going to flip my toenails. I'm going to sweep my foot over to the left, take a peek around the corner, and then I'm going to find that on the outer hip on the right side, a little bit of the side body as well. Okay, meaning back to hands and knees. We're going to do the exact same thing on the second side. Left foot to left pinky finger. I'm going to flow forward and back. And this side's going to feel different, and that's fine. We're just looking for the same sensation of stretch. We're not looking for the exact same pose here. So just be respectful of the sides that might be a little bit grumpy. As you come forward this next time, we're going to add in the shoulder. So the left hand's going to roll back and forth, keeping the shoulder blade relaxed down the back, finding that full range of motion, getting out any pops and creaks here. One more, and then you can choose to continue with these flowing motions, or if you'd like to put the two together, I'm going to reach back as I straighten out my leg. I'm going to come forward into that big, deep lunge. Okay, so just slowly working deeper into the hips, the hamstrings, and the shoulders. One more, forward and back. And then this time as I come back, I'm going to pause. Foot's going to sweep back. Left hand reaches up, inhale. Exhale, take it to the small of the back, and then arch the ribs up towards the ceiling, kind of rotating up, getting that pec stretch on the left. One more breath. All right, left hand comes down. I'm going to flip my left toenails to the floor, slide it over to the right, take a little peek around the corner, find that outer hip and side body stretch. One more breath here. All right, and then we'll slowly bring it all the way back to hands and knees. All right, from here, go ahead and make sure that you're magnetizing the thumbs towards one another, so you really shore those shoulders up into their sockets. Step back into plank, firm up the belly, take a big inhale here. On your exhale, press back into down dog, making sure to keep track of those shoulders. We don't want them up in the ears, but we also don't want them locked down the back. So we're going to step up very, very widely. So looking forward, step your feet about mat distance apart. So pretty big here. Inhale, fingertips to shins. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise up, get nice and tall. And then exhale, hands to heart center. We're going to start our sunays from this big wide stance. Okay, inhale, hands up. Exhale, deep bend in the knees as my hands come down. My right foot steps to the outer right corner of the mat. I've got lizard lunge. So I might choose to drop the back knee. I might choose to drop this right hip, but what I'm not going to do is sag in the shoulders. All right, I'm going to keep that nice plank positioning of the hands and shoulders. One more breath. On your exhale, firm belly, step your feet about mat distance apart. Drop the knees, drop to the belly. I'm going to lift both feet up off the floor, and then I'm going to wag my feet right and left. So I have this really nice twisting motion. It almost feels like a little massage over my quads as well. I'm going to be here for 3, for 2, and last one. Gluing my toenails to the floor, I'm going to lift the belly button up off the floor so my core is active, and I'm going to roll up for 3 cobras. Now as I do this, I want to make sure this is all effort in the upper back and no effort in the lower back. Last one, I'm going to lift up with nice long neck. All right, bring it down, curl the toes. I'm going to press up into plank and down dog. You're always free to use the knees when making those transitions. So once again, we're going to look forward and step up with our feet mat distance apart, so big wide base, and then pause. Right hand goes center stage, left hand comes up for the twist. Reach the rib cage up towards the sky, and then switch it out. Right hand comes up, big twist, and then exhale down. Inhale, hands come up overhead. We got one more sunay here. Bring it down, big bend to the knees. Hands come down, left foot to the left corner of the mat. Okay, finding that lizard position for the hips, dropping the hips, but not sagging in the shoulders. We want that good plank support. Feel free to drop the back knee if you need to. We're here for one more cycle of breath. And then getting the shoulders and the core involved, slide back into that wide plank, and then we're going to drop to the belly and drop to the knees, drop to the belly. This time, only the right knee is going to bend. We're going to go up, over, and across, finding a little bit of a bigger twist, a little bit of a spiral through the whole body. Left toes are going to go up and across. We got one more on each side. Just find your comfortable range of motion. Don't stress anything out. Last one here. And then come on back and glue the toenails to the floor. We've got 3 more cobras. If you'd like to take the hands out of the pose, feel free. I'm going to draw the belly in first and then lift and lower. Now, the tendency is to over squeeze the buns. We want to use the glutes. We don't want to abuse them. So just make sure you're not squeezing so hard that you're compressing that low back area. Last one up, last one down. Hands to the rib cage, maybe using the knees if you need to rise up into plank and to press back into down dog. Last time, we're going to step up nice and wide, at least mat distance apart. Bend the knees, right hand down. As the hands come up this time, press into your left footprint, straightening out that left leg and feeling the outer left hip stretch. Bend the knees to switch it out. Right hand comes up. Try to straighten out that right leg as best you can. Big breath here for that outer right hip. And then bring it down. Inhale, rise up, get nice and tall. And then exhale, hands to heart center. All right, go ahead and take your blocks, top of the mat, get them sorted. We're going to come into our first Sun B, which is going to involve the outer hips and the hamstrings in our flow. All right, so top of the mat. Stick with me here because this first part's going to be maybe a little bit different than our normal Sun B vinyasa if you've been taking these classes. So hang in there. Here we go. Feet hip distance apart. Inhale, hands up overhead. Exhale, have a seat down in your chair, heavy through the heels. We're going to step the right foot out for Malasana, heels in, toes out. Find that froggy squat. Bring it back up. Find your chair. Take a big breath. Exhale, hands come down. Step your right foot back. Drop the right knee. Now, if you need the blocks, they're absolutely there for you. We're going to straighten out that front leg. Find that hamstring stretch. And then as we come forward, I'm going to reach up and then drop that right hip down for the hip flexor. So I'm going to come into that hamstring, that Ardha Hanuman, flexing the toes towards the shin. And as I come forward, I'm going to drop that right hip, feeling it right there in the hip crease. We got one more round. Find that hamstring stretch. And then find that space right where the quad meets the core. Okay, so getting rid of any blocks that you need. We're going to look forward. Standing splits, bend, push, lift that right leg up. I'm going to crawl my hands up onto the block so I can keep that left leg straight. I'm going to relax the chin down to the chest and take a peek back to make sure those toes are pointed down. They really like to flare to the side. Take one more breath here. And then exhale back to chair pose. So feet hip distance apart, bend the knees, hands to heart center. Second side, give me an inhale. Exhale, left foot steps out. Find that Malasana, that froggy squat. Bring it back, 10 toes pointing forward. Find your chair. Forward fold, left foot steps back this time. Drop the left knee. Now feel free to grab those blocks if you need to. We're going to straighten out the right leg to find that hamstring stretch. And then as we flow forward, hands come up, drop the hips towards the ground. Okay, straightening out the front leg, bowing over. Just flexing the toes to the shin, and then bring it up, dropping that left hip. We got one more. Bring it down for that hamstring, and bring it up for the hips. All right, hands come down. Look at the blocks. Bend, push, lift that back leg. Find your standing splits. Blocks or no blocks, it's up to you. But we do want to keep that right leg pretty straight so we don't come out of the whole point of this pose, which is the hamstring stretch. Take one more big breath here. And then feet hip distance apart, top of the mat. Bend the knees, hands to heart center, Utkatasana, chair pose. Take a big inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Right foot steps back. This time spin the back heel down. Rise up, stack the shoulders on top of the hips to find your warrior two. Now we want to make sure that 5 toes are pointing forward. Knee tracks right through the middle of the foot. And that our back heel is a little bit further back than our toes so the knee has a safe spin. All right, here's our flow. We're down in warrior two to open up that hip. We're going to reach up, straight arms, straight legs, clear everything out. And then come forward and down for that hamstring stretch. As soon as you feel it, bring it right back up. Straight arms, straight legs, clear it out. And then deeply bend that knee right through the middle of the foot. Find that hip opening, warrior two. Rise up, straight arms, straight legs. Exhale, come forward, maybe further this time, and down the shin. Find that hamstring stretch. Good, bring it up, straight arms, straight legs, clear it out. And then warrior two, maybe a little deeper, making sure the knee doesn't go too far over the ankle. Last one, rise up, straight arms, straight legs. Bring it forward and down. This is going to be our very best triangle pose. So we're going to pause here. Hand can be on the shin, the ankle, or the pinky toe side of the foot. Pressure to the ball of the foot, little micro bend in the knee if necessary, and revolve the chest up towards the ceiling. Big breath. All right, rise up, straight arms, straight legs. Last one here. And then our very last warrior two, that nice big hip opening pose, reaching through the fingers, making sure that the belly is firm so the tailbone is long. Last big inhale here. And then exhale, we're going to take the hands to the hips, turn the toes to the side. We've got goddess, so it's heels in, toes out, bend the knees, and now stick your booty back like you're in chair rather than knees forward, all right? So I really need you to pay attention to the feet here as we do this. We're opening up the hips here in goddess. We're going to pivot so all 10 toes are pointed towards the back of our mat. We're going to lower that left knee, finding that hip flexor stretch. Bring it right back up, goddess. So again, heels in, toes out. Then pivot all 10 toes to point towards the front of the mat, dropping the right knee. So as you continue to do this, I need you to go slow enough that the feet are safe and pointed in the right direction, so we're not getting kind of screwy with that knee alignment. So go as slow as you need. We're going to do one more round. All right, next time you are facing the back of your mat, I want you to pause for a second. We're going to deepen this. All right, bend your knee, pause. Now scoop your butt up underneath you, kind of tuck your tailbone, and you're going to get a little bit deeper into that hip flexor as you lower. All right, bring it back to your last goddess. Now turn all 10 toes to point towards the front of the mat. Drop that right knee, and now scoop your tailbone underneath you, kind of tucking that butt. And as you lower, you're going to feel it deep to the bone on that right side. Take a big breath. All right, looking forward, stepping forward, feet hip distance apart. Inhale, hands up overhead. Exhale, have a seat down in your chair. Big inhale. Exhale, fold. This time, left foot steps back. Spin your back heel down. Rise up, anchoring through your heels. And then stacking the shoulders on top of the hips. All right, finding that warrior two again, checking the front knee and the back heel. Here we go. Straight arms, straight legs, reach up for the sky. Big inhale. And then exhale forward and down, lengthening the spine, lengthening through the crown of the head to find your triangle pose. Inhale, rise up, reach up, create even more space. And then bring it down, watching the knee track through the middle of the foot for warrior two. Inhale, rise up, reach up. Exhale, forward and down. Maybe finding a little bit bigger range of motion this time. Inhale, rise up, find length in the spine. And then exhale, stack up the spine as you find your warrior two. Good, inhale, rise up. This is going to be our final triangle pose. So reach forward and down, hand lightly on the shin, ankle or pinky toe side of the foot. And then make sure that you're not sinking the head down into gravity. Keep it in line with the rest of your spine. Maybe even taking a peek up to ensure that those fingers are pulling straight out of the shoulder. Inhale, rise up, reach up, and then our final warrior two, we're going to sink low, relaxing the shoulder blades down the back, making sure that belly is supporting the low back. Take one more breath, and then exhale, hands to the hips. I'm going to turn the toes to the side. This time I'm squaring myself off, so all 10 toes are in the same direction, and I'm going to take a forward fold, relaxing the chin to the chest. And then I want to be careful to try to stack my hips over my heels so I don't have my butt sticking back behind me, which is the tendency. So honestly, when you're stacked up, for me, it kind of feels like 51% of my weight is in the ball of the foot and 49% is in the heel. It does feel just a tick further forward than what you might imagine, but that's just going to stack up the hamstrings and keep them safe throughout the stretch. We got one more big breath here. Absolutely micro bend the knees if you're feeling locked out. And then slowly roll yourself all the way up to standing. Hands on the hips, turn the toes to the front of the mat. We're taking a nice big step up, feet hip distance apart. All right, so hips and hamstrings, check. Okay, now this next flow, we're going to get into the outer hips a little bit more. So here we go. Feet hip distance apart. Inhale, hands up overhead. Exhale, have a seat down in your chair. We're going to bring that right knee up, cross the ankle over, and pause in your funky chair. All right, so take a moment here. We're going to make sure the foot is flexed, maybe staring at the blocks for a little bit of balance support. Take a big breath. All right, bring it back up. As you come down this time, open up in those cactus arms. We're going to tap the elbows together, rounding the back. We're going to be adding in some shoulder goodness here in this round. All right, inhale, rise up, bring that left knee with you, settle down into your funky chair. So gaze is important here. If you're looking at something that's moving, then you tend to move a little bit more. So definitely find a spot to stare into. One more big breath. All right, inhale, rise up. And exhale, one more of those cactus chairs. Draw the elbows together for 3, finding that stretch between the shoulder blades for 2, and last one, forward fold. Inhale, fingertips to shins. Exhale, if you'd like a vinyasa, feel free to take it. I'm just going to step back in the down dog this round, so feel free to join me. All right, lengthen yourself out. Inhale, right toes up in the sky. On your exhale, kick your foot all the way over to the left, pushing the footprint away from you, and then look to your right, so in the opposite direction, and you're going to feel a pretty good outer hip stretch here. Give me a big breath. And then inhale, right toes up into the sky. All right, from here, step the foot down into down dog, roll forward to plank, drop the knees, drop to the belly. Okay, being careful of your blocks. We're going to take some diamond shapes here on the belly. So with my nose on the floor, my nose stays on the floor, I'm going to create a diamond shape. Shoulder blades down the back, fingertips touching right at the tailbone area. I'm going to keep my belly firm enough that nothing of this feels compressive in the low back. Then I'm going to switch my diamond shape up overhead, and then I got to get my blocks out of the way, right up here. So as I continue to switch from the tailbone area to above my head, I'm going to keep the shoulder blades down the back. I'm going to keep the belly firm, but I might play with the idea of lifting up off of the tailbone and lifting up off the floor. You're working so many of these good rotator cuff muscles, all these stabilizers of the shoulders. It might not take long for you to feel fatigue here because sometimes these guys just don't get the attention they deserve. We got one more diamond shape. Remember what we're doing here because you're going to have an option of this in Warrior 3. Hands come to the rib cage. Find your plank. Find your down dog. All right. Inhale. Right toes up in the sky. This time, kick it all the way through and pause. We're going to swim. All right. Right arm does the backstroke. Left arm does the backstroke. I'll see you in crescent, 10 fingers pointing towards the ceiling. Big inhale. On your exhale, right hand karate chops forward. Left hand is going to sweep up underneath to create eagle arms. So tight X next to the chest, maybe fingers towards the sky or clapping the palms together. Big inhale. Exhale 3 times. Tap the elbows towards the knee. Rounding the back, finding a stretch between the shoulder blades. Keeping a lot of pressure through that back heel. A lot of energy through that back heel for stability. Last one. All right, inhale, rise up, seal the palms, put the thumbs to the back of the neck to open the chest. We're coming into that diamond shape. So bring the hands up, find your diamond, look forward, bend, push, lift. Choose to stay here, or if you'd like, you can recreate that diamond cobra shape in Warrior 3. Keeping that low back nice and flat. You can always feel it with your hands and working those shoulders at the same time. Whew. We got one more. Nice. All right, hands to the floor. Nice job. Drop the toes, walk to the middle of your mat. We're going to go heels in, toes out, rise up, find your goddess. Right hand is going to go to the nape of the neck. Left hand is going to go to the small of the back. Inhale, open up the chest. Exhale, rotate and switch out the arms. So you want to keep the head back into that cradle that you are creating with that top arm. And maybe eventually the fingers get a little bit closer together, but the idea is more to kind of rotate the arm bones around in the sockets, get some mobility. Last one. All right, hands come down. Walk to the top of the mat. Option 1, down dog. Option 2, if you want to throw in a side plank, make sure that left shoulder head is ready. Slide back with the hips nice and high so you're supporting yourself. All right, down dog. Here we go, second side. I know that was a lot. Inhale, left toes up. Exhale, kick the foot all the way over to the right, sliding the footprint as far as you can, and then looking to your left. So you're kind of wringing yourself out like a sponge. Big inhale. Big exhale. Whew, outer hip. All right, toes up in the sky. Kick it all the way through. Pause. We're going to swim. Ready? Left arm does the backstroke. Right arm does the backstroke. I'll see you in crescent, 10 fingers pointing towards the ceiling. Left hand's going to karate chop forward. Right hand's going to sneak up underneath it, make that tight X by the chest. Hands can stay pointed up towards the ceiling, or you can clap the palms. Big inhale. Exhale, elbows to knee. We got 3 of these. Take your time because moving like this is going to affect the balance. Keep a lot of energy through that back heel. We got one more. All right, we're going to lose the bind. Inhale, hands up overhead. Seal the palms with the thumbs to the back of the neck, big opening of the chest. And then as you come back up, you're going to take the elbows wide, find that diamond. Looking forward, bend, push, lift. Choose to stay here, pushing the skull up into the ceiling, or I can create those diamond shapes. Now I want to do my best to create a straight line from my head to my hips to my back heel. So prioritize that. And then if you've got it, you can add in these diamond movements. Last one, forward and back. And then hands down, toes down, walk to the middle of the mat. Heels in, toes out, find your goddess. Last one of these guys. Take a big breath. All right, so if you need to stay here, you can stay here. I'm going to add in my funky chair. So my right ankle is going to come up, over, and across. Deep down, funky chair with that outer hip stretch. Elbows tap. Bring it back. Find my goddess. Elbows tap. Left ankle to right knee. Bring it down. Funky chair. Elbows tap. All right, bring it back for your last goddess. Elbows tap, and then hands to the floor. You can absolutely walk forward, and I'll see you in down dog, or if you want, secure that right shoulder, slide back, and think about a rainbow shape to the spine here, so the back is helping you out here with that pose. All right, lengthening everything out, we're going to finish in pigeon. Right knee towards the nose, sweep the shin across the mat, drop the back knee, and wiggle it on back. We want a relatively straight line from sitting bone to big toe, so we don't have that kink in the ankle, which is pretty common. And then we also want a relatively flat low back rather than the slope, which is also pretty common. So if you need some support, grab a block, place it underneath that right sitting bone. You've got a little wedge there. And then once you're settled in, go ahead and maybe close down the eyes, relax the chin to the chest, and take a couple big cycles of breath here as we finish out this outer hip round. So we've worked our way up the body, myofascial release on the feet. We've worked the inner hips, the hamstrings, now the outer hips. We've moved up into the shoulders. So this final little bit here is going to be adding in some twists for the entirety of the spine, kind of putting a few pieces from before together for our last flow. And then we'll end with the myofascial release for the hands. So everything that you need head to toe, all in one 45-minute class. Last big breath here. All right, bring it up to the palms. Let's draw the belly and curl the back toes. I'll see you in down dog to lengthen. And then that left knee will come in, sweep the shin across. We want to be comfortable here. So we don't want to put the knee in a position where it's cranked into just in order to get that outer hip stretch. So after you straighten out your lines here, we want to check on this guy. I know sometimes we feel it necessary to really crank that foot forward, but there's really no point in getting an outer hip stretch if you're going to compromise the knee. So just make sure this guy is good to go. Take a few more cycles of breath, making sure that you're breathing belly, ribs, and chest. Making sure there's no wrinkles in the face or in the back of the neck. Last 2 cycles of breath. You might think about that right side getting just 1% heavier. So it's not a big shift, it's not a big movement, but it's just a little bit of energy transfer and you feel the effects on that left side. One more big breath. All right. Okay, I'm gonna make sure and put my blocks back where I had them. Okay, from here, I'm gonna place the palms down, making sure the belly's firm, curl the back toes, slide back into down dog. All right, looking forward, stepping forward. I'll see you at the top of the mat. Inhale, fingertips to shins. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise up, reach up. And exhale, hands to heart center. All right, we're going to get into this last little bit of twists to finish off our final round. Here we go. Feet hip distance apart. Inhale, hands up overhead. Exhale, as I sit down into my chair, I'm going to take a big spiral twist to the right. And then as I come back up, I want to bring the left knee with me and spiral to the left. Okay, let's do that again. Sit down and spiral to the right. Lift that left knee up and spiral to the left. One more. Sit down and spiral to the right. Bring yourself back up and spiral to the left. Okay, let's switch it out. Find your chair. Take a big inhale. All right. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, spiral to the left. As you come up, bring the right knee with you and spiral to the right. So take this as slow as you need so that you can find your balance and you can find the benefits of the twist and we're not just kind of flailing through space. All right, so our last one, spiral to the right, find your chair, and then exhale, forward fold. Inhale, fingertips to shins, exhale, vinyasa. Again, maybe just stepping back into down dog, lengthening it all out. Here we go. Inhale, right toes up into the sky. Exhale, kick that foot all the way through. Now punch through your back heel as you rise up and find your crescent pose. Stacking the shoulders on top of the hips and firming up that low belly to support that low back. Big inhale here. Exhale, we're going to take a big spiral to the right, maybe getting lower in the hips. Inhale, rise back up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Lengthen the spine forward before the left elbow crosses. Now push the thigh bone firmly out into the elbow as you lengthen the spine in the twist. We're going to be stepping up into chair twist. So if you need to step up in one big movement, you can. Or if you'd like to take twisted flamingo first, I'm going to look forward, slide my back foot in, hover for a moment here, doing a calf lift on that back leg. And then everybody's going to step forward and find their twisted chair. Inhale. Spiral over to the right to stay. Maybe that left hand grabs the thigh bone. Maybe that left hand grabs the pinky toe side of the foot and you begin to extend into dancing Shiva. Take a big breath here. Now, whatever you have, you're going to slowly release, swinging that right foot back towards warrior 3 and then cartwheeling the hands to the blocks. So making sure that you have that nice flat low back that we practiced in pigeon, you're going to take the left hand to the left hip. Inhale, lengthen the spine, and then exhale with a firm belly, squeeze the inner thighs together, start to rotate towards the left, not letting that back leg drop here. If it feels comfortable, that left hand can reach up towards the ceiling. You've got a big breath here in this twist, massive twist, and then hands down, toes down, and I'll see you in down dog. This is our last side and our last set, guys. You've made it. Inhale, left toes up in the sky. Exhale, kick it all the way through. Push through your heels. Rise up with that firm belly supporting the core. Big inhale. Exhale, we're going to spiral to the left. Good. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Really extend the spine as far forward as you can before creating the twist. Right elbow across. Press the thigh bone firmly out so you're not caving the knee inwards. And then feel free to just step up to twisted chair if you need to, or I'm going to slide forward and do a little float, a little twisted flamingo beforehand. Take an inhale. Everybody exhale, twisted chair. All right, as you rise up, we're going to bring the left knee with us. Take a big spiral to the left, choose to stay here. Maybe the hand to the thigh bone, maybe the hand to the pinky toe side of the foot. And you don't have to create a straight leg here. You can keep as much of a bend as you need. Take a big inhale. Exhale as you slowly release that leg, cartwheel the hands to the blocks, create that nice even back in our warrior three positioning of the legs. Then right hand to right hip, inhale, lengthen the spine like a slinky. Exhale, begin to turn the belly button towards the right side of your mat, trying to maintain that alignment of heel with hip. If the right hand wants to sneak up there, it can, but don't do it at the expense of the shoulder. One more big breath. And then exhale, hands down, toes down, and I'll see you in your final down dog. Lengthen it out, nice work. All right, drop the knees. All right, we're going to finish with that myofascial release for the hands. So find something comfortable in terms of your seated position. If you want to sit cross-legged, or if you're happy on your shins, if you want to take your legs into a V shape, whatever's going to work for you. And then you have the option of using the floor, especially if you have hardwood floors. It'll work pretty well. But you can also bring the floor up to you using your blocks, okay? So you just want a hard position to press into. I'm going to take my golf ball or my myofascial release ball, place it in the middle of the right palm, and then gently relax the fingers. So I want you to think kind of jellyfish here, right? Then I'm going to do CPR hands, both equally as relaxed. I'm going to put some pressure down, okay? Take a breath, and then I'm going to slowly push that pressure towards the thumb side of my hand. So as you continue to put pressure here, I'm just going to lift up my hand and show you this L shape here that we're going for, so this third of the hand. So I'm going to just kind of, I don't know, I have a kneading motion like you're kneading bread, back and forth, slowly, looking for any of that tension or just interestingness, uniqueness that might be there. Keeping the fingers relaxed. I think this is one of the hardest ones to relax to because the fingers automatically just want to go straight out. So do your best to keep the fingers relaxed, chill, and then definitely investigate as far over on the edge of the thumb as possible because the thumbs do go through quite a bit. It's our main texting finger. It's also the one we use the most on the keyboard for the space bar. So he gets a lot of movement throughout the day. We want to make sure and keep him healthy. So if you find something good like I just did, I'm going to pause, push into it. And then with this one specifically, if you find something good, you might play with kind of wiggling the thumb just in a lazy little bit of a motion. Sometimes that gives you a productive scrubbing feeling. If it doesn't make any difference, don't worry about it. Just keep everything relaxed. All right, so once you've done that third of the hand, we're going to now pull that pressure over to the pinky side of the hand. Keeping the fingers relaxed, start to scrub the pinky side. So we're looking at this kind of J shape here. And as you're pushing, you want to go all the way from the first knuckle down to where your wrist crease is, so right where a bracelet or a watch would be. And then just take your time, fingers relaxed. Some of us might feel like our spots are on the very outer edge, so feel free to take that kind of karate chop edge on the ball. Keeping the fingers relaxed, we're going to work through that tissue, stopping if anything is interesting. It's so important for the hands and the feet to get hydration because they're made up of a lot of ligaments and tendons, and those guys just don't get as much blood flow as muscles do. So this is kind of a really good, refreshing way to give them what they need. Keep them happy. All right, finally, we're going to work this kind of smiley face or U shape here. So my fingers become pivot points, and I'm going to scrub in this big swinging motion, and the ball's going to roll right about there, okay? So I'm actually going to turn this way. Now, what's important on this loop is that right there in the middle, at the very bottom of that U, there could possibly be a little divot similar to the one we felt on our heel. If you feel something good there, pause and maybe give it a little bit of love. This tends to be where we first feel symptoms of carpal tunnel, the area that can help affect that. So if it feels productive, you might want to spend an extra second there investigating. And then just like we did on our feet, we're going to do an overall scrub. So just fingers to wrist crease all over the entirety of the handprint, making sure to get all that really valuable hydration through all the layers. All right. And then just like we did with our feet, we're going to pause, put both hands flat on the ground and see if you can feel a pretty big difference in the handprints, maybe on how much surface area there is actually touching the ground, the length of the fingers, even the color because of the blood flow we created. And once you've noticed, let's go ahead and take care of the other side. Ball is in the well or pit or middle of the hand. I'm going to put those CPR hands together, making sure that my fingers are very relaxed. I'll pull that pressure over to the thumb side and start to roll around a bit. Okay. Keep your breath work just like we did on the feet. We want to make sure that our breath is supporting our goals. Okay. Our goals here are to relax and to ease into this productive pressure. So we want those long cycles of breath to guarantee that the body's got a chance of doing that. Okay. Again, if you find something good on the thumb side, you can always kind of wiggle the thumb a little bit, give a little extra scrub. Sometimes in the webbing of the hand between the thumb and the index, there's some good stuff. Okay, I'm going to move this pressure now to the pinky side and just slowly work that J shape. But I know that if my body is telling me, ooh, the spots are definitely towards that outer edge, I might want to roll a little bit more towards that karate chop and investigate that. Everybody's going to be different depending on what you do with your hands. If your job involves, manipulating tools, or if your hobbies involve anything with grip strength, we're all going to be slightly different here. So just listen to your body. It's going to tell you where you need that massage at. Okay, last but not least, we're going to come into this U shape here. So with the fingers as pivot points, I'm going to scoop the ball back and forth, doing my best to keep those fingers relaxed because they really do like to kind of straighten out. I think they're helping. And then just like we did on the other side, take the time to investigate that little nugget or that little divot that you might feel at the very bottom of the palm. Got just another moment here. Watson is currently taking a nap right in front of the camera. He's been in Shavasana for the last 45 minutes. All right, last but not least, go ahead and roll fingers to heel of palm all the way through the entirety of the handprint. Make sure everything gets touched. And then let's compare. Go ahead and place the hands together. Feel that brand new grip that you have, brand new handprint that you have. All right, let's get rid of blocks and ball. I will say though, if you are a bit of a fidgeter in Shavasana, sometimes it is helpful to place the blocks in the palms and then just have that weight as you rest. It can be helpful to just feel a little more grounded, especially now that we've brought a lot of awareness to the palms. All right, so as you go ahead and lower on down, feel free to adjust the lights, the music, get what you need to be comfy. We'll take a full body stretch just to make sure that we're symmetrical. Reach the fingers, reach the toes, and then go ahead and place the palms down by the sides. Take a moment to get out any fidgets, wiggles. And then once you find your space, go ahead and breathe into that space. Inhaling deeply to fill up the belly, the ribs, and the chest. Exhaling completely to squeeze out all that old air. Inhale 360 degrees around the waistline, visualizing that rib cage opening up like an umbrella. Exhale, slow and controlled, feeling grounded and relaxed through the spine. Take your time building this breath, not forcing anything, not stressing anything. Just finding this ease of flow in and out the nose. Feeling the air enter the nose, move down the throat, and fill up the entirety of the torso. On the exhale, feeling the air exit the nose, maybe brushing the upper lip. Continue to soften into your mat, relaxing the muscles of the face, dropping the jaw and the tongue, getting heavy in the shoulders, surrendering the legs by softening the hips. And then for just a few moments here, see if you can really focus in on the nuances of the breath, noticing how it lifts and lowers the body like waves. Noticing how the sounds of the inhales and exhales are ever so slightly different, also mimicking the sounds of waves. And then if you wish for the next 2 minutes, you might choose to put those things together so that you're feeling the waves in the body, you're listening to the waves as the air moves in and out the nose, beginning to visualize laying on the beach, allowing this visualization to take on details as not to bring in any distractions, to stay single-minded and focused on this positive visualization of the waves matching the breath. Keeping the eyes closed, go ahead and wrap up that visualization, bringing your awareness back to the room that you're in, maybe wiggling fingers and toes to gently bring a little energy back into the body. And then slowly reach the hands up overhead and see if you can compare this full body stretch with the one we took not too long ago. Maybe feeling a difference in the shoulders and the hips, maybe comparing it with the beginning of class before you even started your movement. As you gently draw the knees into the chest, you might feel a difference in the low back, maybe in the feet from that massage we did at the very beginning. And then taking all this on board, all the benefits that you created, all the work that you put in, go and slowly roll over to the right side using the right arm as a pillow. This is our moment to hit the reset button, to recognize that we leave our mat a much better version than we stepped upon it. Take a big inhale, gathering in all that good energy that you created, and exhale anything you wish to leave behind that shouldn't follow you off the mat. When you have what you need and you've done your best to set the rest aside, go and slowly rise up to a seated position. We'll sit up nice and tall in the spine, practicing that good posture of stacking the ears over the shoulders, over the hips. Placing the hands together at heart center, let's gently place the thumbs right there on the heart space, maybe even pushing in just a little bit so that that pressure is a gentle reminder to always do kind things, both for yourself and for others. Thank you for taking time out of your busy day to do something kind just for you by finding movement and stillness and the balance between the two. It was my honor to lead you through class today. Namaste. Thank you guys very much for joining me. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave me a comment. Let me know what other classes that you'd like to see. And I will see you here next time.